Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Talk Football. You're with Dan and Jesse. Once again, it's Friday night. You know what that means. It's the Premier League preview show. We're going to be looking at all the games coming forward this weekend. With the added bonus, we're going to look at the Leicester versus United game. Have a bit of a thoughts and feelings from Jesse. See what he thought of the match. See what he makes of it. Big pressure down in the Midlands there for Brendan Rodgers, so he's got a lot to go and do. Surprised he's still in the job, but then again, if you don't give us the tools to do the job, I don't know what they expect. It's going to be big trouble. So yeah, we're going to look at all the big games this weekend. The Liverpool derby, Everton versus Liverpool, huge game, Saturday lunchtime kickoff. United versus Arsenal on Sunday, enormous game, really, really big match. And then, of course, Villa versus City, the prequel to El Sacchio next weekend between Leicester and Villa. So we're going to be having a little discussion on some of those. And yeah, there's some really good matches. So, yeah, we'll kick straight into it. I'll let Jesse take his views and opinion of another convincing, some say, win away from home. What do you make of it, mate?
Yeah, I think we were solid in the first half. Definitely played better in the first half. I don't think we played that great overall. But what I would say is that we still look resolute. I think the defense is starting to gel better and more and more each game. Besides that, I like the transition. Leicester let us off the hook with some really bad defending.
Really did.
But it was a good goal. I saw a lot more press resistance at the back between our midfield. Obviously, Scott actually played a bit better. Eriksson dropping deep, taking the ball off of Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. That looks good. Malacia looks good. Delo looked great. Real cohesive unit there at the back. Like all that, Casemiro comes on, and it's just a different class of player. So it's like it's not really sample size, but when he comes on, it was just so clear. If you go watch that 30 minutes, it's just his patience. When he wins back the ball, it's easy. It's a progressive pass forward, 5-10 yards. And we haven't had that. We haven't had that. Matic was the last player who had it, and we really couldn't play him for the last 2 years he was here. So all in all, resolute performance. Leicester really didn't have any good opportunities. I think they had 2, and neither of them were really that close to going in. So, but it was a professional job. We got our goal, and this is a bogey team for us. We hate King Power. We hate going there. So I was happy with the result overall, and another clean sheet, which is a massive bonus. But
it was, I mean, my view on it was a game lacking in quality. And not just say, United were not quality. Both teams lacked any real quality. And that's shown from the statistics. We had 2 shots on target for each team. That's really poor. That's not an entertaining match of football. That's not, the highest levels. But the difference is United were able to give that cutting blow, shall we say. They took one of their 2 decent chances and got a good goal. Really poor defensive situation from Leicester. To be totally expected. The back 4, back 5, including the goalkeeper, is much weaker than it was some 12 months ago. Danny Ward is a relatively okay keeper. I don't think he expected to be starting as the number 1 for Leicester this season. Kasper Schmeichel gone, big loss. Wesley Fofana left, gone, very big loss for them. Having to play Ndidi in the defence there, it was makeshift, wasn't it? It wasn't right. It wasn't the team that I think they would have come out there with. They had good chances. Well, I say they had good chances. They had good build-up. The problem is when they got to the point where they needed to turn that chance, make that good build up into a chance, and it just wasn't there. It was lacking. Jamie Vardy's a shadow of the player that he used to be. There's a number of players there who clearly are not very happy at Leicester. So yeah, big problems for Leicester. But what I did like about United was they weren't playing great, but they still got the job done, and that's what matters. They came to a very tough game, big pressure match. A 0-0 draw would have suited Leicester, as daft as it sounds. It would have been a good result. And instead, United struggled to get chances, to be expected, away from home, at a bogey team. And they did well. They got the result, 1-0. They move on, 3 points on the board. And all that matters now is basically saying that's out the way. Keep building. Your team looks much more like a team where it hasn't in the past, and hopefully just move away from some of those ghosts that were sort of in the closet, pre-Brentford. Of course, with the away result that was there. So, big test though. This weekend's a huge test. And because we're talking about United, I mean, there's not so much for us to talk about in respect of that game because it wasn't incredible. We can't really dissect it. But what we can say is we'll go and look at the United Arsenal game while we're on United. Jesse, what are you expecting from this match? What's your view and opinion like with this? You're up against the form team in Arsenal, the only team who's won every game. This is a blockbuster. This is an absolute blockbuster of a match. I love this game. United Arsenal is one to tune in for. So what's your view on this one? How do you see this going?
I actually think that this is going to be the best Arsenal United game for a long, long time, because both teams are going in with their fans and the squad's confident that they can put in a performance. Result matters here, obviously, for both Arsenal and Manchester United. I think there's more pressure on Arsenal, but the United fans won't let the team off the hook. The thing that I can say, and I think a lot of United fans haven't felt this way for about 12 to 16 months since the end of the 2021 season, is we actually have something to build on. I expect a result from this game. Not a result, a performance from this game. 110%. Depending on what happens. Am I nervous? Yes, because it's Arsenal at home at Old Trafford. We really shouldn't lose this. But if we don't get a performance, it will be really disappointing. But what I will say about that is I just want to see the changes made now. I want to see Casemiro come in. Antony's probably not going to start because he just came into the club. But I would just want to start seeing these changes. I'm confident with our back four. If Casemiro comes in, I'm confident in our midfield. And Arsenal have injuries. So really, if I had to hang my hat on it, I think United win this 2-1. I do.
I can see it. Me and you have been talking about this. We've been talking about Arsenal being a team that's got some fragility in it. It has a great 11. Really does. Very, very good 11. But that 11's been weakened. And this is an opportunity for Manchester United on good form coming in against... I mean, they've literally split it down the middle. They've got you as slight favourites by a percentage. That's Google's mapping of its probabilities, but you are evenly as matched. This game could go anyway. And I'm only leaning towards United just based on this home result. Arsenal have been playing well, of course, but this is their first big test. This is their first top six match. And this is going to really be a kind of litmus test on Arsenal's season so far. So you're saying 2-1. I actually have a feeling it's going to be 1-1. I just think that there's going to be emotions. There's going to be all sorts riding into this match. It's almost like a derby. It's kind of like a early Premier League rivalry derby, and that's where this is going to be. I think Arsenal right up there at the moment. They've got a good team going with them. The midfield's a bit weaker. You're doing well with what's going on recently. You've got some good results coming. 2 losses, 3 wins, and you're moving forward with how it could be. I'm going to go with a draw. I think this is your first draw of the season. That's how I see it.
You know what it is for me is that I saw against Liverpool against a weakened Liverpool, admittedly, a team that was willing to get up for that game, and then obviously carry on the professional performances against Southampton and Leicester. Neither were great performances, but they're professional. And I think that it's up to Arsenal to match our level, because I think at OT we'll raise that standard back up to where we were against Liverpool, with potentially new signings, new players, a little bit more excitement, a little bit more confidence in the crowd. I think you'll hear less, groans and reaction from the crowd when things aren't going so well. And I think that for Arsenal, this is really their first big test, like you say. But yeah, I could see a draw as well. I'm really just keeping my United.
No, and you're rightfully so. just before we move on to our next matches, I mean, it's one of those. That's how I would say it. I think Arsenal are in great form. I think you're in great form as well. That's what should be said. You're in great form as it stands right now. And what's quite interesting is looking at that league table. Isn't it funny how the traditional top six, other than Chelsea, unfortunately, as it stands right now, are creeping their way up to their respective positions, in the league, even as bad as Man United started, even as bad as Liverpool started, they're just rising themselves up into those positions. Only Chelsea lie outside the top six. If Liverpool get the result that they should get tomorrow at lunchtime, they'll go to 11 points, and they'll be within the top four realms now. They'll really be applying that pressure again now to those teams who've got off to a flyer. That the pressure's going to start applying. It's funny how quick life gets to you, doesn't it? With that. So yeah, I mean, United, Arsenal, it's a top 4-6 pointer, shall we say? As in, it's 3 points caught on Arsenal or 3 points dropped, isn't it? So it's really up for grabs, and I'm salivating at the idea of it already, to be honest.
It should be a good game. That's one thing I will say. Both teams will have energy and will be going for it. So
yeah, definitely.
Let's get back to this. Another big one.
Huge. Yeah. It's huge. I can't wait. I always get nervous at this game. This is a huge match for Liverpool. Great result midweek. Great result against a very tough team in Newcastle. Who did really, really well. We should win this game 100%. We should win this. For me, I think we should win this 2-0. I'm saying 2-0 based on the fact we're away from home. I'm basing this on the fact that the feel-good factor's coming in around the club again. And I still genuinely feel like Everton's attacking options are limited. They're still very limited in relation to coming up against Liverpool. And I think that we will be able to take advantage of that. I have a genuine feeling that Lampard's going to try and defend this game out. He's going to try and keep this as a tight and tough match. And I mean, we look there, they've never scored more than one goal all season. And I don't see them scoring more than one against us at the very, very most. I feel we'll keep a clean sheet. I do in this match. So I'm going to go with 2-0 Liverpool. I don't think Nunez will start. I think he'll come off the bench. Firmino's played far too well in these last couple of games. And I think Nunez will come on if required, shall we say.
Yeah, how do you feel like that the last minute winner against Newcastle affects you guys? Your where you guys are at mentally? Like,
it's enormous. It's enormous, mate. It's an enormous thing. It's like it can't even be quantified. When you just get that, everything's going against you. Like the this isn't happening, and the way they're playing, and you just get frustrated. So it's frustrating that someone's not doing anything wrong, but they're doing everything that's just awkward and makes things difficult for you in life. Yeah. And it's almost like yes, even with all that kind of adversity, we still did it. And I think that's how I see it. I see this as the perfect opportunity for Liverpool to take that on the high, feeling good, up against a team who is feeling better. It's a funny old sort of conversation around Everton that where are they now at the bottom? Just scroll down. Where they're in the relegation zone? 17. No, they are, other than goal differences keeping them out as it stands right now. They're playing really poorly, but the fans are very happy, and it's an interesting one because if this was Rafa Benitez, they'd be burning the club down.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me. They've had a couple good performances away at Allen Road. I did not expect them to get a draw there at all. They scored first. Leeds came back. They also had another chance. I think Damari Gray scored, but it was offside, like marginally offside. Yeah. They do have some good performances. I don't see where the confidence in the squad really comes from. I think that this game is, I mean, traditionally they're always up for this game, but I think I saw something the last 25 times you guys have played, all but one, which is the one, ironically, incidentally, that was from a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where they beat
when we lost at Anfield.
Yeah, at Anfield.
Yeah, with COVID season when we had all our injury issues and stuff like that. Yeah, we lost 2-1, I think it was.
That was the only one they've won out of like the last 25 meetings or something. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a long, long time.
So I think it'll be interesting. I expect Everton to put up a fight, but they're just so weak right now. So I don't.
They're just toothless. I mean, it shows, doesn't it? Like they're a toothless team at the moment. They've got no attackers, and being only able to score 1 goal, it's not going to take you very far. You know what I mean? And Liverpool, it depends who Everton play up front. Do they play Rondon? If they play Rondon, who's the out and out striker, that'll suit Liverpool down to the ground. Becomes a physical battle. Van Dijk loves a physical battle. If it's Anthony Gordon, we know what we're going to come up against with Anthony Gordon. We know what to expect with Anthony Gordon. So it's 2 different options, but the options that they have available to them going forward are limited. Really, I have a feeling that this is going to be a siege mentality game. A little bit like it was last season at Anfield, where they're just going to come and try and get a point. But I hope that we're able to put this game to bed, get a 2-0 win, something like that, and we can just move on and kind of forget about the poor start to the season and start racking up some points.
Is Matip back?
Matip is back. Whether he'll start or not is questionable. I mean, do I take Gomez out? I don't know. Klopp certainly could bring him out. I would like to see Matip back in. I do like Matip and Van Dijk. That is my preferred joint midfield. You're right, Pat. Nice one.
Yeah, what about no? So for this one, yeah, like if he's back, if Matip is back, I'll go 3-0. I think that it might be. I think a lot of people are expecting a closer result than that. Like even a 2-1 or something, just because it is the derby. I think if Matip comes back, I think it's 3-0. If Gomez starts, I think it's 3-1 because there is a disconnect. There's a couple moments in each match that you guys have played so far with Gomez starting with Van Dijk where there's been a disconnect. So.
No, 110%. Yeah, so don't expect too many shocks in that one. Really, really looking forward to it. And I'm glad that I don't have to wait all day for it. It's not like an evening kickoff. I get to watch it and get it out the way because it's you start getting the nerves on Derby Day. But yeah, okay, brilliant. So Chelsea versus West Ham. Battle of the underachievers, I would say. It's how do you see this game going? Like, I don't know.
Depends. If Fofana comes in right away and they move James out to the right, because he started training right after the last match, I think that they'll have enough creativity in there. They still don't have a good enough midfield. They can't play Gallagher as a holding midfielder. They don't have Conte back. Jorginho and Kovacic is back. That might be enough, but I think this is going to be a boring game. I'm just saying. I think it's going to be a really boring game.
This smells like a 0-0 or a 1-1 to me.
Yeah, and of course we'll be wrong because
we will because we've said it now.
But yeah, no, I think it's gonna be dead. I would like to see Broha start for Chelsea. That's what I will say. When he came on,
the standard 6-year deal.
Completely different dynamic though when he came in.
Do you think he will?
I don't know what Tuchel's going to do, dude. I don't know what Bully and Tuchel are. I'm done trying to predict what they're going to do because it makes no sense to me.
There's no predictability about them as it stands right now. And West Ham aren't. I mean, I've got to say, West Ham must be very buoyed about the result they got against Tottenham. I think that was a great result for them. They stopped the rot, with where things were going with West Ham. They got the win against Villa, completely undeserved goal. But listen, you move, don't you? You get a big deflection, it loops in. You get your 3 points and you walk away. They played badly against Villa. They weren't very good. They were the worst team but got the result. And sometimes you just need that little bit of luck. They played up against Spurs. Spurs were less than clinical. Got 1 own goal. West Ham finally might be able to get the result that they need. I'm going to go with a 1-1, and I think West Ham take the lead first.
Oh my god! I think if Fofana starts and they go back to the back 5, back 3, whatever. I think it's a 2-1 to Chelsea. Actually, no, I think it's 2-0 to Chelsea.
Ooh!
If they go to the back 5 and Fofana starts, Otherwise, I'm going to go 1-1 with you because they're back.
Okay.
There's absolutely nothing. They lose all their attacking impetus when they go to a 4 at the back somehow. And they become way less defensively structured. So, but I don't think West Ham has more than a goal in them at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, definitely, I agree. Yeah, so yeah, interesting one there. Tottenham versus Fulham. Fulham full of confidence away from home, though they are a different animal. Spurs, poor result midweek. Their strikers are going to have to start doing the business, in my opinion. Is it time to drop Son, you think?
No, and I don't think he will. I think he's going to try to play Son into form. I would probably try Richarlison, but I think that's a decision you can make in game. And I think that as long as you have Kulusevski and Kane, their only real outlet is Son. That's the problem that I have with them, is that you're going to drop pace for pace if you trade out Richarlison for Son, and vice versa. I just don't see the reason to do it at this moment in time. And I don't see him doing it until, well, you know what? They have Champions League during the week. But I get the impression from what Conte said, from what I've heard, that he's not happy with the transfers. And he's not happy with...
He's not happy with the transfers.
He's not. That's what he's basically said. Because there were lots of club signings, but they weren't necessarily signings that he wanted to use. Not all of them, at least. No, I wouldn't drop him yet. I wouldn't drop him, or at least I don't think Conte is going to drop Son yet.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same. I mean, how can you drop Son? We all know what he's capable of, but what me and you have discussed on a few occasions is we both identified that Son is capable of also this. He's capable of doing absolutely nothing for not just one game or two or three. It's now 5 games where he has done sweet FA. And it's telling. He was very frustrated against Nottingham Forest when he got Tock off the pitch. You could see it. He was fuming, he was raging, he was shouting, he was throwing stuff around and pulling a face. And I didn't see enough of the West Ham game. I'm not sure as to what kind of occurred there, but I'm sure he's going to be cutting a frustrated character. Coming up against a Fulham team who are in good form. They are in very good form recently. They've had some good fixtures, some good results. They're going to rely heavily on Mitrovic. I think it's interesting. I don't know how Fulham approach this game because they like to play the kind of football that suits Spurs. And I think they'll carry on playing that football that will suit Spurs. I'm going to go with a 1-0 to Spurs. I think this is going to be 1-0 to Spurs. Very similar to the Wolves game.
Boy. Yeah, I think that Spurs keep a clean sheet. But Fulham don't really open up all that much. They're a hardworking side, but they don't do as well away, is what you kind of what you were alluding to. I'll go 2-1 Tottenham just to be different. I think Tottenham win, but I think it papers over the cracks for the nth week in a row. I mean, really, only West Ham, they didn't get away with it, but they were terrible in the second half. West Ham dominated them. This wasn't a great performance from Nottingham. I mean, they basically played into Spurs' hands. This also was not a great.
Wolves should have won that game. I'll still say it.
This was incredibly lucky with some very dubious calls. This is the only performance that I've been like, okay, Tottenham are serious.
Yeah, good result. Yeah.
It was the only one, and not just because of scoreline. It's because they actually played Southampton off the park. Yeah, I don't know. 2-1 just to be different.
Fair enough. Brill, right. Brentford versus Leeds United. 2 teams who did start really, really well. But some of the recent results have started to let them down, I would say. Brentford have not got wins where they probably would have thought they would have got wins. Leeds dropping points against Everton wasn't particularly brilliant. Did Leeds lose the game after Chelsea?
Drew with Everton, didn't they?
Was that the next game after Chelsea? Was it the draw with Everton?
Yeah.
No, they lost to. They lost to Brighton. Yeah, they did. They lost to Brighton. So I would say Leeds it's not coming apart, but the great start is starting to just lose a bit of shine. That's all I'm saying. They're losing a little touch of shine. So this is two teams who probably are both desperate for a win. Leeds away from home, going to be an interesting one. Not so far so good on the road. Obviously lost to Brighton. Drew with Southampton from a winning position, first game of the season. I don't actually see much change here. I'm going to say 2-2. I mean, I can't go too much into it. I just have a feeling that both teams will open up, both teams will score goals, and I think this could be a 2-2. It could even be a 3-2. Either way, it's just genuinely going to be who gets the better of the chances, with the players that they have available to them. But Brentford are desperate for an actual result. They've dropped off performances since the United game where they won there, which they'd have been very pleased with. Dropped points, not won games, even lost games where they probably should have won them. They've both drawn. They've both actually drawn to Everton 1-1. They both played Everton, drawn 1-1. So I think they're evenly matched as clubs. So for me, I'm going to go with a 2-2 high scoring draw, 2-2 or 3-2 either way.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm actually going to go with a 2-1 Brentford here. I think Brentford will show up for this. And I think having that injury and with Bamford just coming back, I don't know how much they have up front, letting Dan James go. 2-1 Brentford. Brentford, like you say, they've been dropping off, but I think they have the weapons to take care of Leeds in this game.
Yeah.
Ivan Toney and Guillermo up front. They brought some other people in. I think they can. Yeah, I think they get the result. I'm still not convinced by Leeds. I'm convinced
defensively Leeds are just not that great, are they?
Now, do you see that goal the other day where I think it was Llorente? They basically
when Anthony Gordon scored, Llorente just completely misses the ball. Yeah,
he did a step over.
Yeah,
like, how do you even miss the ball? It's in the center of your body. There's almost no way you can miss it. All you need to do is lie down flat on the ground. Like that's all you need to do. But instead, you're trying to like dummy your own keeper to make sure the ball gets through. And it was just such a weird
It's same old Leeds, isn't it? Leeds are gonna get very few clean sheets this season, I'm afraid, and Meslier is going to get very few clean sheets, and he'll get lots of saves like he did last season because not much has changed. What I feel has changed is Leeds' attacking options are much better. I think they are going to score more goals, and I think they'll get more results. I have no concerns about Leeds, but Leeds and Brentford, the two teams right now who have started well or who've played well, but the results are starting to dip. And this is an opportunity for both teams to kind of, get one up on a team who's in the similar position and kind of like, just kind of restart the season, give a quick step change and just move forward into getting this situation forward. So for me, I am leaning a little bit more towards Brentford because Leeds' away form isn't brilliant so far. So yeah, I'm going to go with 3-2 Brentford. 3-2 Brentford.
Change that, right? Yeah. Nah, it's fair. It's fair. Let's see what we got.
Oh, championship battle that's there, mate. A little bit up. Did we just miss it before? Yeah, we did. It's Nottingham Forest versus Bournemouth. We just skipped over. We will go with. I mean, this is a huge, huge game. Nottingham Forest off the back of two very, very tough games. Two games they had to play. City got demolished. We all expected it. They played Tottenham, very naive, played the kind of football that absolutely suited Tottenham and lost convincingly. And it was disappointing, really, because we all said the way that you should play against Tottenham was just give them the ball, just let Tottenham have the football. So there you go. We don't need a win, but they didn't. They decided to play a way that suited them. Newcastle game was poor, very naive. This was a great result against West Ham. That was an okay result against Everton. On the day, poor. They probably should have got the 3 points. But if you'd asked them before kickoff, would you take a point away from home at Everton? They'd have said yes. City, I mean, that's just a free hit. That doesn't matter. They're always going to, you don't expect anything against Man City. But this is an absolute must-win 3 points from Nottingham Forest. Absolutely must win.
Yeah. No, this is 110%. These are the games that we said before the season started they need to be winning. I think we said
we did when we looked at them.
One, but then you can get away with it because you got your points against West Ham, which no one expected. And then this against Bournemouth. These are the sorts of games that they must win if they want to stay up. Even
they're into it now. They're literally into it. Bournemouth, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Villa are all games.
Yep.
Even up to Wolves, you would say, are games where they have a chance of getting wins.
They have to compete in each of those games. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, they have to be convincing. Even if they don't win and get a draw, even if they don't win and lose, they need to be showing the right signs. That's what they have to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we said it would take a while for them to bet their players, and now that they're on 21 players or something. But
like the Royal Rumble down in Nottingham Forest, isn't it? It's like every 3 minutes a new guy enters the pitch.
It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, this is where it starts for Nottingham. It has to start here.
Yeah.
They need what would you say out of these? Out of Bournemouth, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Villa, Wolves, we'll forget Brighton. We'll leave them out.
Okay, so for me,
how many points do they
they have to get 3 points against Bournemouth. I'm sorry, it's not good enough if they don't. That's absolutely on the manager and on the team if they don't beat Bournemouth. Simple as that.
Yep.
Leeds United away, I would take a draw there. I think that Leeds are a much more settled Premier League club with, good ethos. They're going to score goals. 4 points. So from those two games, Fulham, I think they're back at home. I would say, based on current form, that Fulham would be the favourites in that game narrowly. I mean, a draw minimum. I would say a draw minimum there. That's 5 points. Leicester away, depends if Brendan Rodgers is still there. But against Leicester right now, on current form, I know 3 games is a long time in football, but I would say Nottingham Forest would look to try and get a result out of that game. I would say they look to get a win, 3 points. And then Aston Villa at home, a draw. So if they don't pick up between 5 and 8 points in those next 5 games, that's very bad.
Yeah, I think they need at least 9 out of these 6 fixtures. Because I don't think that they...
Yeah. Oh, up to Wolves as well. I didn't say Wolves as well. Yeah, of course. Yeah, the Wolves game.
I don't think they beat Wolves.
No, a draw would be a good result for them.
Yeah, but I think Bournemouth has to be 1 point at Leeds, 3 at Fulham, 3 at home to Fulham, and then maybe another point somewhere. But I think it's anywhere between 8 and 9 points. They need to start getting into that the low double digits
before October.
Exactly. It's just to have that buffer if they want to survive, that is.
Because then it gets tough. Look, there's 3 matches which you would suggest are all 0 wins. Brighton away, Liverpool, Arsenal. Then it gets a little easier. 2 games, Brentford, Palace, 2 games where they could potentially get some points. Then it's United, then it's Chelsea. It's going to be hit and miss from from here and now until the World Cup. But yeah, they're going to need to do something. They're going to need to do something. But this is a must win. I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest, and I'm going to back them to get their first game where they score more than 1 goal. I'm going to say they're going to win 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0 as well. I think that they'll get it done. I just don't think Bournemouth have really anything about them at this moment in time. So I think it's fair enough to give Nottingham the credit there, honestly. And I don't think that they're a terrible team. That's the other thing I want to say. I just think that they're kind of being a little naive, is what I would say, being in the Premier League and playing the way that they are playing. So
they're just running out of time there. That's the problem. They're running out of time. They need to get clever quick, because the games come thick and fast now, and before we know it, we're on double-figure game weeks, and a third of the season is over, a quarter of the season is over, and it's like, whoa, hang on, we've lost 25% of the league here, and time's running out, shall we say. We need to start getting some wins, and if you can get those wins early in the season, they make the end of the season much more bearable.
No, 110%. I agree.
Wolves, very, very poor start to the season. Really, really poor. The results haven't been good enough. Bournemouth was their last game. I mean, that's a shocker. I mean, away from home to Bournemouth. After I talked them up so much, the way that they played against Newcastle, the way that they played against Spurs, they played really, really good football against both teams. Didn't get the result that they wanted, but the performance was there. You could see what they were doing. They were, they were doing the right kind of things, and getting a draw against Newcastle is not too much of a disappointment. But losing to Leeds first game of the season probably wasn't what they wanted to do. This is a must win for me. I have a feeling that this is a must win for Wolves, but I can't see them getting it. I think Southampton are sort of getting things together. I like to see Southampton's away form because I have a feeling it's not great. I have a feeling Southampton's away form is not brilliant. I don't know why. I just don't think they've had a good away form recently. We'll just get that up.
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi is starting to be.
No, it's all right.
Very sharp. Yeah. Where are we at?
Yeah, Southampton.
No, I'm telling you, my Wi-Fi is about to go. I swear. Anyways, let's just keep going until it drops.
It's teetering. Yes. So, previous results there. Can we get Southampton up?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all right, mate. I just wanted to, so I don't talk total nonsense. Yeah, their away form. They beat Leicester, which was a good result. Obviously lost to Spurs. Drew to Leeds at home. They're back on the road again. They're back on the road again against a team who I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to be a 1-1 draw. It has the smell of a lower half of the league. Poor game, really. I don't think it's going to be overly exciting. I think that Wolves will approach this game as a must not lose, with the caveat that they probably need to win. But Southampton will approach this game with just a must not lose attitude. A draw is a good result for Southampton in this match. So for me, I'm backing a 1-1 draw, just based on the fact that Wolves are just not capable of getting the goals that they require. They haven't got a goal scorer. Raul Jimenez is unfortunately lacking in goals. Hwang isn't working out. There's not the goals there. So 1-1.
Yeah, I'm giving Wolves the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say 1-0. Lavia is out, who scored their goal. Who's been really instrumental. They've had a couple of weird signs with fitness where I'm not sure some of the better players that they have. That number 37. Not even going to try to pronounce his name. Forgot it already. Anyways, they look like they're not as fit as they should be. I think Wolves have the know-how, and I think that Southampton are an established Premier League team at this moment in time, but they brought in a bunch of youngsters from City. There's a lot of inexperience, and I think Wolves have that experience. So I'll go 1-0 to Wolves, especially because they're at Molyneux. So
now, just before we come up to our penultimate game, Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. Poor, well, not poor result. A very taxing game against Liverpool midweek. Physically taxing, mentally taxing. How do you think that that'll affect Newcastle? We talked about how Liverpool's result affects them. How do you think that performance affects them mentally as a team?
I think they'll bounce back quickly, because I think that they've had these results: a 3-3 against City, going up against Liverpool, scoring first, and conceding in the last minute. I think you can almost say, you did well, lads, but next time we need to hold out. All the excuses about whatever they had. I think that you can say with these big teams, that's not going to hurt them. What I will say, though, is it's not actually that great for what Newcastle fans and Newcastle people around Newcastle have been saying. What is that, 5 points?
3, 4, 5, 6 points.
6. Yeah, I didn't even look at that. Yeah, I mean it's not a great start to the season, and anytime they meet a club who's deemed at their level, they do draw. Like their record is actually not that great. Their record is very good. If you take out kind of just like the performances, very good against City, very good against Liverpool. Nottingham Forest, you kind of expected that. St. James, first game of the season. Palace looked really weak, but they're starting to click. This will be an interesting one because if Zaha's back, Eze's in form, and the team is playing well, I actually think that this will be an interesting game because there's going to be a lot of just counter pressure and lots of counter attacking. I for this one, I actually want to go Palace 2-1 because I know it's at St. James's, so it kind of goes against what I was saying before, but I'm going to give it to Palace just because I think Palace is going to give them something that they haven't necessarily seen before without Wolves, in spite of Wolves, where a team that would be willing to sit back against them and counter them instead of the other way around. So I'm interested to see how that works out.
No, I could see it too. I could definitely see Crystal Palace coming here to try and get a result. I think that physically, I mean, let's get it straight. I hope that those Newcastle players made a full recovery against Liverpool. I mean, I believe they spent at least the last 48 hours in the Liverpool Royal Infirmary. So I can only assume that, pray that they get better. Joe Linton must have been in the ICU with the injuries that he received. Just God rest him, basically. But yeah, I mean, it would genuinely, like, for me, Newcastle's mentality is an interesting one because last season they went on a really, really good run of results and they came up against Chelsea. And they lost 1-0 almost within the last minute. And then they went on a bit of a shaky one. There was a mentality was affected where I thought they would just bounce back. Like, go, listen, boys, we didn't get the result maybe we deserved, but come on, let's crack on. And they did the opposite. They went the other way. So I could actually see that this having a mental effect on the Newcastle players. And I'm going to back them as losing 1-0. I think Crystal Palace get a result. I think they win 1-0. Just based on the fact that this was a really sort of taxing game for Newcastle, and I just question their kind of mentality as it stands right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think that they'll bounce back quickly, but they haven't looked as amazing as they normally do. She's dope. Thanks for hopping in the chat there. Yeah, no, I'm going 2-1. 2-1 to Crystal Palace. So.
Yeah, no, I can see that 100%. So yeah, we'll talk, I suppose, our final game. Second to final game.
No,
yeah, second to final game.
We already covered United.
Oh, we already covered United. Yeah, so final game of the weekend, which is interesting game, very, very interesting game. Last season, this was a close match. This was a close game towards the end of the season. Can I see this being a close one this time round? Absolutely not. I think Aston Villa are going to get thumped off the pitch.
They have no defense.
No.
I don't even think they need to start Holland. And I'm very interested to see if he actually does start, plays them for 45 minutes, 60 minutes. I'm not, dude, I'm making my decision very, very safely because I know everyone else is going to captain him anyways, which is questionable still. But I don't think I'll play differentials there. They don't have a defense, and they look toothless in attack. And I don't think that they really have anyone who can hurt City, minus maybe a Watkins, maybe Bailey. I would be very interested. I think that we'll see Bailey and Watkins play in this game for pace.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that one. It's going to be. I mean, look, let's just look at this. Aston Villa. Just scroll up, mate. Can we just go to the start of the season for Aston Villa, right? So they lost 2-0 against Bournemouth. A horrendous start to the season. The away game that you would choose to have, to be honest, you would choose to have that. Like, who would you want if you had to choose an away game? You'd say Bournemouth. I'd have them away first game. 100%. Lost 2-0, really poor. Got a good result against Everton, but they made this look a lot more difficult than it should have been. They scored, and within So they scored the second goal. It was 2-0, plain sailing, no issues. And then within a minute, 90 seconds of scoring, conceded. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Same again happened against Crystal Palace. They scored. Within 90 seconds, 2 minutes, they conceded. It was 1-1. And I've seen them do it 3 times. Did exactly the same again against Arsenal.
Yeah.
They can't defend. They can't keep switched on. They're not focused. They don't concentrate. And against a team like Manchester City, if you are not 100% on the game, 100% focused on your jobs and your roles, they will punish you. And they're going to. I have a genuine belief they will punish Aston Villa. I think this could be a 4 or 5-0 game to Man City. I really think it could be as bad as that.
Which one are you going to go for? I don't have anything else.
I'm going to go 4-0. I'm going to go 4-0 based on the fact that I think Haaland will start. I think Haaland will play exactly the same what he's done in the other games. I think that Pep knows what's important. He knows he still needs to get the points on the board. He still needs to get, he still wants his title, all the rest of it that he needs. I think they're going to demolish them. I think it's going to be 4-0. I think they'll absolutely kill him.
Yeah.
I don't think Haaland starts this game.
I don't know. I don't think
against Sevilla. I don't think they need to start him.
I don't think they need him.
I think Alvarez could start that game.
And he will want Haaland for this game.
He will
want Haaland for this game. Ooh, that's interesting. I think Haaland probably starts then. And he just manages him, starts Alvarez here, or even plays some form of false 9, saves Haaland for this guy.
Yep.
And then probably just keeps never mind. Running it through. He'll save him for United as well. Yeah, interesting one. Yeah, okay. I was gonna go 3-0. But I will go 5-0 since you
Yeah. It doesn't look like there's anything that's gonna stop. It doesn't look like there's anything that's going to stop City. There is one last game we have to do. It is Brighton Leicester. Yeah. I can only see things getting worse for Leicester. I really do. I can only see things getting worse for them. I mean, Brighton have had a good result. They've also had some results which aren't brilliant, but I think they'll pile the pressure on against Leicester. I really, really do. I think that Brighton's home form has not always been brilliant. It's not always been incredible when it comes to wins. They've been much better on the road. But Leicester's a team completely devoid of any morale, completely devoid of any sort of, the players don't want to be there. There's no money. There's no investment. They're a much weaker team than they were last season. They look worn out. They look a worn out team, and I can only see them taking another L. I really do. I can only see them taking another L, and I'm going to go 2-0 to Brighton.
Yeah, 2-0. Fair. Yeah, I think it's going to be 2-0. Brighton do play very well at home. They have a couple new signings that have come in and are starting to perform. Estupinana or something is his name. They just brought him as the replacement for Cucurella, I believe.
Yeah.
And they already look like a good side. Brought in Mopai. No. Who brought in Mopai for Everton?
Everton brought Mopai.
He wasn't good enough anyways. Yeah, 2-0. I mean, I think this is pretty straightforward, actually. I just don't think Leicester. I think that there's a certain point at which it becomes so stale that the players start downing tools. Happens with every club. So
it's just, where do you stop the rot? Genuinely for Leicester, it's where do they stop the rot? That's the biggest question. They're already rock bottom of the league. We predicted this. If people go back and have a watch of we didn't predict them to be bottom of the league. I'm not saying that, but we predicted Leicester were going to have a poor season. Do I think it was going to be as bad as this? No, I didn't, because I didn't actually think they would lose players like Kasper Schmeichel. I didn't think they'd lose Wesley Fofana, but they have. They've lost a lot of key players who should have left the club, like Yuri Tillemans, haven't left and should have.
And now Marte's out, and their best defensive midfielder is playing center back. Yeah, it's a mess.
It's all going wrong. Genuinely, everything's going wrong at Leicester. And how can you blame them? Can I blame Brendan Rodgers? Yeah, I can. But do I blame the ownership? Yeah, definitely, because there's no investment within the club, but that's because they can't invest because they're in the situation that they're in. That's through poor planning. That's through the situation they put themselves in. They're trying to get themselves to build a new stadium to allow themselves the opportunity to be able to reinvest within the club, but they can't reinvest within the club because, of course, you're not going to build a new stadium to go into the championship, and that is the kind of form that they're on at the moment. And could they end up in a relegation battle this season? Definitely. They absolutely could end up in a relegation battle, even with the players that they have available to them. It's the fact that there's no happiness within that Leicester team. They don't look like a team who's happy to be there. That they look very stale. No investment. There's been no real new players that have come in there. The new players that they have brought in, like Patson Daka, haven't worked out. Sumer hasn't worked out. They've lost some of their key players like James Maddison. They've all but. I mean, ultimately, he leaves next season. He is definitely leaving next season, no matter what. He will not be at Leicester next season. And for a player like James Maddison, it's an interesting situation, isn't it, for you? Because not I'm going to say he's going to do a Yuri Tillemans, but he might just go, well, I'm not going to be here next season anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes in your mind, doesn't it? Like, not that you don't care, but it just becomes less of your problem. Like, you don't fight quite as hard anymore. You don't chase that ball down as much. You maybe don't make that run as hard as you would have made it, because ultimately you go, yeah, I don't really need to worry because I won't be here next season.
Especially if you're not happy with the situation you're in. No one
Absolutely.
can tell me that they're when they're frustrated with their situation that they put in the effort that they would do otherwise. Like, so especially, I mean, like I think that you'll see maybe an upturn with a new manager coming in, with the World Cup being around, and especially second half of the season.
Yeah.
I think Madison and Tielemans will be playing like, I mean, they'll be pushing for moves basically. So,
well, Yuri Tillemans most certainly, because he'll be on a free, won't he? He'll be able to make himself a free deal to anywhere, within with world football, pretty much. He'll be able to go on a free. He's able to make free arrange. Is it free arrangements with international clubs at 6 months?
Or overseas at 6 months, yeah.
Yeah, overseas at 6 months. So yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, that they're going to have to put themselves in the shop window at the end of the day, because even if Leicester is not their final destination, they'll need to put themselves in the shop window for their next club. So you would hope to see that they would be working hard to kind of say, hello, listen, my club's not playing well, but I could be the difference, and they'll get those situations. But anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Probably wrap up the show now, coming up towards 52 minutes. We thank you, everybody who's jumped in there, Pat, everyone who's been watching, those who've come across the video, those of us who were watching live, those of you who were watching later on. We really appreciate you coming across the video. Thank you for spending your time with us. We'll be back again on Monday, seeing how well we've done with our predictions for this weekend's football. And we will also have our Champions League first one of the season, going to be looking up at the Champions League games, seeing what we think is going to happen there, take a little preview over there, have a look at that. So we hope you can join us for that one. But until then, I hope your team does well. Take care of yourselves. See you on Monday. Thanks very much. Like and subscribe. See you later.